Okay, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. My name is Cihan Tunali. I am the head of DevOps and SRE teams at SmartMessage. So, actually, I'm not a Percona staff, so I'm acting as a Percona lover. So, really, I'm a big fan of the Percona, so that I'm using their products often. And one of the most exciting product for myself is the PMM. So how did I face with the PMM? How did I met with the PMM? Actually, it starts with the applications. It's because most of the meetings that you had today is related with the databases. But right now I'm saying it's an application. So it's because for my focus, database is application for my side because I'm not a developer, I'm not a DBA, so I'm the part of the system administrators. So that's why, except from the infrastructure, everything related with the application from my side. So at SmartMessage, we are using lots of applications, such as databases, open source applications as a middlewares like RabbitMQ, Redis, Elasticsearch, Kafka, Nginx, etc. And then we need a monitoring tool to cover all these applications at only one pages. So we decided to use, actually we started for investigation what we can use for this purpose. And then I met with the Percona and I saw that they have already a solution for me. So which named is a PMM, Percona Monitoring and Management. So I started with digging with the PMM. What can I use PMM so often, so effectively for my purpose? I start with the PMM to use with the infrastructure for beginning. It's because I didn't know Percona created for the most of database as an open source database. So I didn't know it before. So I started with the infrastructure monitoring for basic purposes. So I started to watch CPU, memory, disk, I/O, whatever you name, you already know it. And then I learned that I can use application monitoring inside the PMM because it's already built in. So I don't do anything specially, just monitor for the applications. So that I started to use the databases, I started to use the applications, and also other infrastructure components inside the PMM. So in the previous meeting, Sergey told you something about the PMM agents. Most of sysadmins in here maybe should know about Grafana and Prometheus. So Grafana and Prometheus is a combining of two applications that you can use to monitor your applications or your infrastructure. To do that, you need some exporters to collect the metrics, which comes from the Prometheus. But for the PMM, the theme creates the agent for you, and when you install that agent, all other exporters bundled inside the same agent, so that you don't need to install anything extra to collect the various metrics from MongoDB or PostgreSQL or MySQL. So when you install the agent, you got all the metrics plus infrastructure metrics inside already. When you install the agent, you already saw the previous meeting. When you install the agent, you will see the CPU, memory, disk, network. And if you enable the other extensions such as PostgreSQL or MongoDB, you will see the database metrics as well. So at SmartMessage, we started to use PMM at the middle of our application monitoring. And okay, so how did we start with PMM? First of all, we started to use PMM for database monitoring for sure. It's because the database monitoring is the most powerful, most powerful site that you can use the PMM. It's because you don't need to bother any dashboards, you don't need to bother for any external metrics or any external agents to install with it. It's already bundled and it's already ready for use. When you install the PMM, you will see all the MongoDB, PostgreSQL, MySQL dashboards ready in use. When you enable it, it automatically collects the data, and you can automatically see the data which is ready for use inside the dashboards. And for my opinion, as a system admin and for the SRE part, I need to tell my developers and also my management if there's a problem with the applications, such as databases or any other middleware parts, so that I have to show them something. So to show them, you need to use the dashboards. If you use the plain Grafana and Prometheus, you need to enable or you need to design the dashboards that you need. But for the PMM, you will see all the dashboards designed for you already. So we started to use PMM for the database, for the performance optimization, and for the troubleshooting, because usually I can say all the developers, please excuse me, because if they have any problems with database, they already go to infrastructure or DevOps or SRE team. We have a problem at the database. Okay, you may have a problem, but what is the problem? What is the issue that you are facing of? You have to tell me exactly that I can look at it. But they don't say to you, okay, this is my problem, or any specific words that it is pointing the pain problem for them. They require you to chase the problem, dig the problem, and tell them, okay, you have missing index. But it's not my duty to do that. My duty is to give the proper performance based on the infrastructure based on, not as a database level or not a database admin. So that with the PMM, you can show the developers or the DBAs where is the pain points of your databases or your applications. Because when you collect the metrics, you will see the peak points. You will see the other bottom lines. And you will see the various metrics which comes from the PMM itself. And also, you can install the PMM wherever you want. It doesn't matter that you are using cloud or on-premise or your own machine. It doesn't matter. And also, the previous presentation, Sergey told you that you can use the hosted PMM if you want, if you don't want to install, and if you don't bother about the installing process of the PMM, you can use hosted PMM. It's already available. But it doesn't matter for some laws inside the Turkey. Maybe you're already aware about it. We have KVKK. It's something like with GDPR, so that we cannot send data outside of the Turkey, so that most of our users or my clients, they cannot use the cloud so often, so that they want to use the applications inside installed as on-premise, so that you can install the PMM for your on-premise services. You can install the PMM on AWS, Google Cloud, Azure, wherever you like. And it's also, and the most important thing, is free. You don't need to spend more money for monitoring purposes. It's free. And with this application, you can cover all the application needs that you need. Come on. Okay. Okay, right now, at the PMM, you can see all-in-one solution for open source databases, as I said, which means you can monitor MySQL, XtraDB cluster, PostgreSQL cluster, MongoDB, and all these 3 types of open source databases that you can monitor with the PMM. It's already installed. It's already ready to use. And also, for the PMM as a Percona monitoring and management, It is built on the Grafana and the Prometheus, and it has a plus for Percona experience, and it comes out with the PMM. Because if you have any problem with the, what can I say, with the installing the agents or integrate the application with the PMM, you don't need to bother, how can I do that? It's because there's a huge community behind it. And there's a really, really, really good documentation, please believe me. It's a really good documentation they have. And you can also dig, well, how can I implement or how can I integrate with any kind of sources with the PMM. And also, how we are using the PMM inside our company. At our environment, we have PostgreSQL, we have MongoDB, and also as an external client, we are using RabbitMQ, Redis, Nginx, Elasticsearch, and what else? I think these are. So what we did, we all combined all these types of application inside the PMM as a matrix. So inside the PMM, when you open the PMM, you will see all these applications metrics in one page. Just imagine, you just monitor the databases. You are monitoring the application and the infrastructure as a plus. So I am challenging my infra team on my side because they are using some other monitoring tools such as Zabbix or PRTG to monitor their infrastructure. I am using PMM instead of. So with PMM, I can give them better metrics which they don't have. And also as a plus, I can give them as a application metrics for my developers, for my project team. Because for some situations, we need to determine the application performance. My developer told me that I have a problem with the PostgreSQL connections, which I couldn't open the PostgreSQL connection. Okay, I said, come, let's check. When we open the PostgreSQL dashboard inside the PMM, I can easily tell my developer that, okay, you are saying that cannot open the connections to PostgreSQL, but I can say you that here, as you can see at the widget, there's a connections, it's ready and idle, and they are waiting for operation, but you cannot use. So that there is nothing I can do. The connections already been opened, so that you have to change your code or you have to change your connections, think whatever it is, I don't know, to connect the PostgreSQL properly. If I don't have these types of metrics, what should I do? My developer will come to me and told I cannot connect the Postgres, so I will connect the Postgres and dig what's going on. I will open pgadmin. Okay, I can connect. You cannot connect. I can connect as well. So there will be maybe you somebody already have this discussion with their teams, but with VMM I can easily convince them. So there is no problem with the application, and there is no problem either with the infrastructure as well. So with one application, you can easily achieve this goal. So maybe you may remember from the previous slides that Sergey showed to you, one of the most powerful feature which PMM has is the query analyzer. I love it, by the way. I am not a DBA again. I am just a system admin for general, but I use query analyzer so often. Why? Because if I face with any performance problems which comes from my developer or which comes from my project team, I have to show them there's a problem with your queries. There's no problem with the application and there's no problem with the infrastructure. There's a problem with your queries. For MS SQL users or Oracle users already have this opportunity, such as SQL Profiler or Oracle stuff. You already aware about it. But what about open source databases? For MongoDB or for PostgreSQL, for MySQL. I don't know what kind of application do I need to use for this purpose, but I already found a solution. It's Query Analyzer. When you open the Query Analyzer, which comes from inside the PMM, it automatically checks the queries, and also here the load, query count, and the query time. Doesn't matter which database that you are using. It automatically covers MongoDB, PostgreSQL, and the MySQL as well. And here, for example, these are my PostgreSQL servers, and this is the PMMs itself. And also, I couldn't show to you, there is as inside the nodes, there are MongoDB services there as well. To get the query and analysis working very well, you need to do some little modification at your end for get the proper queries. And after that, you will be able to get the query results, which comes from MongoDB, PostgreSQL, and MySQL as well. And this is a very useful tool for me. As a system admin, I can tell my developer, okay, you are using these queries, for example, and here is the load. And here is the, for example, there's no problem, by the way. If I had a problem, I will automatically show my developer, okay, this is the query counts, and this is the load, and blah, blah, blah. And this is the time that the query is running on. By the way, this screenshot relies on the standard query analyzer. If you want to add more here, if you click the add column, you will see the matrix. You will see the matrix comes from the agent, which is related with the PostgreSQL specific, MySQL specific, and the MongoDB specific things. For example, row count or something. I cannot remember right now. But it's automatically bundled. So just imagine, if you install the Grafana and Prometheus, you won't get this one. If you install the PMM, you will get. And also, you can convince the developers that they are writing the wrong codes and they are writing the wrong queries. And also, I mentioned before, you can add external metrics to your PMM instance. What kind of metrics that you can install? Actually, at this web page, you can see all the exporters that Prometheus can give to you. And there's lots of exporters, believe me. So what I installed as an external source to PMM, so we are using HA proxy, Nginx, RabbitMQ, Kafka, Redis, Elasticsearch, Blackbox, Windows, VMware, MS SQL, and etc. So I add all this stuff inside the PMM. And also, when I checked any Redis problem, for example, I can automatically compare the problem time with the other application metrics. For example, if I have a problem with Redis itself or PostgreSQL, for example, let's assume at 1 o'clock, I have a problem with the PostgreSQL, and I can check the same time if I have a problem with for my infrastructure, if I have a problem with the existing RabbitMQ instance, if the queue is full or not. So with PMM, you can easily check all these stuffs together inside one application. Most of our system admins or the infrastructure admins or the developers should have separate applications to monitor their applications, let's say. Because DBAs love to monitor the databases by their ends, which is correct, by the way. But we, as a middleware layer inside the company, as a system admins or SREs or DevOps, we need to monitor the other systems like the DBAs, not exactly, but like the DBAs, or the other various teams like infrastructure, because we are responsible for the running applications very smoothly without any problem with the performance metrics. So that we need a tool. And actually, for my side, I find my tool which is PMM. And I'm still active on the forums, by the way. I am still creating the needs which comes from my team and which comes from my development. And I'm still improving my PMM instance. So this is the last of my part. I want to thank you who is listening to me. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. If you don't, which shows that I tell you very well then. Okay, thank you very much.